All right, today we are going to go over how to profitably and efficiently set up a Weinig P700 to do multiple short runs quickly and efficiently. And again, like I said, profitably. Today we have 11 short runs to do, and we're going to try to knock it out in a couple hours. And in the next short video, I'm going to show you how we do it. All right, so right here we're just jogging or manually feeding the first setup piece. Most of these clips are going to show our Q33 profile and our 1/8 inch radius that we're setting up. All right, so here's our high-tech list of what we're trying to knock out. The only way to do it is to create a simple list like this and then give it to our tool room guy, who needs to have at least half to 2/3 of these profiles set up ready to go for me to start the day. So that's what we have shown in the photos here coming up. And we make sure that every head has a sample and it's verified at the end of the machine and matches, the same run every time. And this is just the best way to stay organized and make sure you're getting these done because there's such short runs. Yes, we do have setup charges to make this profitable, but you need to stage your heads on these tooling carts that we've made by width and by back out and by the feed wheel widths, so that once that row is done, you probably need to change your backouts next or change your wheels or both. And this is the fastest way to stay organized and knock out these short runs. All right, so you'll see here from the screenshot on my phone with my awesome daughter that we are starting these runs. Run number 1 is starting at 9:36. So like I said previously, the number one thing in my opinion is to line up your feed wheels in a way that makes sense, so you're not constantly have to change over your feed wheels. It's just another step that you need to avoid. So if you can get 5 or 6 runs set up where the feed wheels never change, that saves you a ton of time. Another little trick, if you have runs that are similar in width, you can just make quick manual adjustments in width and height, and sometimes that just helps you do a quicker changeover. And if it saves you a minute, it adds up. Again, I'm really only taking clips from the first 2 profiles. It would be redundant to show you the same changes every time, but this machine has automatic setup minus your feed height, and if you need to adjust taking more or less off on your first bottom, that's where those factors come in and need to be changed manually. A big time saver is trying to set up runs where you're only changing 1 or 2 heads at a time. So you want to group a lot of profiles where the side knives are just planer knives that stay the same, and you're really only changing your top or bottom. And then if you have to do crown moldings, you want to make sure you're doing side knives that are similar, like 45-45 or 52-38, so that once you get that one crown molding set up, you're running 4 or 5 and you're only changing the top head. And when I'm talking about these quick changeovers, it's really only doable because Weinig has its power lock system using HSK tooling, which allows you to push a button to release and to lock the heads in place. Just having to not wrench your heads on and off every setup saves multiple minutes per setup, and that's a generous amount that I'm giving. So in this clip here, I'm just actually doing our 1/8 inch radius tooling, which we call a dynamic profile internally, which means, we run multiple 1/8 inch radius at multiple sizes, thicknesses, widths, and you can manually quickly just set the axial height and change over from a 3/4 by 2.5 to a 1/2 inch by 1 inch, just by quickly changing the axials and the profile axials. And that's just another great feature of Weinig's HSK tooling that you don't have on non-HSK machines. I could be talking out of term about non-HSK machines, but it's just the quick interface of being able to type in data like that and change over quickly that I know we didn't have on our old Unimet. So I think this kind of goes without saying, but I know a lot of shops don't do this. You need to blow out the machine in between each run. Just because we're trying to go fast, you can see the buildup that you get on areas where, parts slide mechanically once you release that bolt. And if you're moving things around and wood is getting wedged in there, it's just going to make for a rough day, and you're not going to get the amount of orders done that you want to get done. So a quick 30-second blowout of the machine before you put it into tool change position or clearing position will save you headaches when you're trying to get fast setups done. So we are nearing the ends of our runs. Essentially, we got the 9 small runs done, and then we leave the 2 bigger runs for the end of the day. So if we go back to the screenshot on my phone, we started at 9:36 a.m. We ended our 9th run at 12:22 p.m. So not even 3 hours, we did 9 setups. I also want you to keep in mind that with those 9 setups, I'm a manager. I took phone calls, checked emails, answered questions as employees came up to me throughout the day. So you'll see here are the runs that we did and in that time span. And it's definitely doable with this machine. And you could easily replicate your afternoon runs to do the same amount. The bigger runs that we did after lunch, the one run was around 3,000 feet, so it took about an hour, and that was done. And then we went on to other short runs to run the rest of the day till 5 p.m. This is also another thing to point out. On our 7th run, I kept getting a jam up, and it's because I had to pop my feed wheels out a little more. They were getting stuck in that groove that you saw on the right side of that profile, and that literally lost me close to 15 minutes. So that's still a real life situation. Not everything's going to run smoothly, but in a perfect world, if I didn't have that hang up, we would have had those 9 runs done 15 minutes sooner. One final tip is your first bottom should be taken out every day, in my opinion. There's a lot of issues that people have with first bottoms heating up, and it's just a good practice to get that head off and let it cool down if it did heat up at all during the day.